Do get a point, but it's the Toyota Losers Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. As the homestand comes to an end, you can drive away in your Toyota. This is the DNVR Avalanche Postgame Show, presented by Bet365. Rudo and AJ coming to you live in a game. I mean, at least it was frustrating in a different way. At least we got that going for us. But I do think a game with some frustrating pieces to it that ultimately lead to an Avalanche loss. AJ, what's your initial vibe on this game? How you feel about it?
It's been a while, but I actually feel pretty good.
I think that's a fair take.
The Avs haven't had like a feel-good loss in quite a while, I thought that as a team they played quite well. Beginning to end, there wasn't a stretch of the game where I was like, what is happening here? I thought they looked pretty good for most of the game. And, you get a little bit of bad luck and then you make a couple of bad reads and that's it, man.
Yep. I agree with you on that point. I do think at least at 5-on-5, and I'll even say in regulation, I think the Avs played a pretty darn good game. I don't know how much you can really fix there. Sure, the first goal against that is a bad play from Colorado. Sure. That's about it. That's about it that you can really look at. The second goal is nonsense. Dude misses the net by 5 feet and it banks in off a guy's hand. Like, I don't know what the Avs are supposed to do to fix that problem.
Yeah, I mean, you outplay them, you outshoot them, you outchance them, you do everything right. You get none of the puck luck in this game. The puck luck all goes to Connor Hellebuyck. The best goaltender in the world, playing absolutely incredibly this season yet again, and especially against Colorado. And you beat him multiple times and don't get rewarded multiple times. Like
Yep.
And then for that second Jets goal to go in really stings when you just, they have the ultimate trump card back there when they've got Connor Hellebuyck to just be like, we'll just erase this. I got this. And then you don't even really give yourself a chance in overtime with a absolutely just a god-awful read. A terrible play, and then look, Neil Pionk has a limited skill set in the NHL, but part of that skill set is that he's got a really good shot, and we saw it.
Yep. It went in. I mean, in a perfect world, you're never even in that situation in the first place. Maybe we should just start there. Let's start with Nathan MacKinnon's game tonight. On the one hand, great individual effort to get the Avs their first goal of the game. I thought he played pretty darn well for the majority of the game at 5-on-5. And then 3-on-3 happened.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan MacKinnon, up until overtime, I really don't have a real problem with Nathan MacKinnon. I've been wanting him to shoot more. He had 11 shot attempts tonight at 5v5.
I thought he was maybe Makar was better, but one of the Avs' best players tonight. I think definitively Nathan MacKinnon was, until he just genuinely gets teleported to another dimension in overtime. Like, that play is so bad on so many levels where, yeah, okay, he misreads the play in the neutral zone. He gets caught sleeping, whatever, fine. But then the way he plays it, on top of that, is he halfway commits to realizing I screwed up and I have to back check, completely blocks off any angle for Cale Makar to recover for him, and then halfway through that back check, gives up on the play a second time And Cale Makar has to go over and try and recover it, but there's just nothing to be done at that point.
Yeah, you remember a couple of years ago when the Avs had like 6 straight overtime losses, and they were getting rolled in overtime. It was never close.
Yeah.
And it was always some combination of
MacKinnon and Rantanen.
Yeah, Rantanen and MacKinnon and
Barry or EJ or
it was so frustrating, right? Because they were losing because they had absolutely no idea how to play at 3v3.
Yep.
Like they were totally lost in the format, and they were just they were no good at it, and a lot of it. And I started talking about this years ago that as special as they are, both MacKinnon and Rantanen suffer from that same. Sometimes that hockey IQ drifts on them. You know, they're not paying attention. They don't know what they're doing. They're just out there getting a little cardio in. And in 3v3, you have to be focused. You have to be sharp. You have to be on it. You have to be on it. And it just tonight, I mean, watching that, you're like, it's hard because it's like, are we really gonna sit here and crush Nathan MacKinnon, who was for my money, he was their best player in this game. He was the biggest portion of their offense being really, really good. Like, it's hard, but then you also get into overtime and you're like, what is that, man? It's so bad. It's so bad. And that's frustrating.
It is. And like, you can live in both these worlds. You can acknowledge how bad that play was in 3-on-3 and still say that Nathan MacKinnon was a key part of the game tonight. The Avs probably don't even get to overtime without Nathan MacKinnon. And to be honest, maybe I would care more if 3-on-3 was a real thing. Like, when it matters, you don't have to worry about Nathan MacKinnon playing 3-on-3 because that doesn't exist in the playoffs. Like, if you're going to pick a part of the game to be bad at, I'll take 3-on-3. If you're good everywhere else, I'm just not going to care that much. So,
yeah, and like at 5v5 in this game, Colorado was really good.
Mm-hmm. Everything but the bounces, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you just don't get that extra one by him by Hellebuck, and then at 5v4, you continue to be terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know any other way to put it. You have a power play in the last 4 minutes of a game. You get no shots on goal.
You try the cute bumper BS 6 times, and none of them even get a shot on net.
Yeah, I mean, you have 4 minutes of power play time in this game. You end up with 5 shot attempts, 2 shots on goal. You allowed 2 shots on goal.
Yep.
You have 3 scoring chances in 4 minutes when you have more players on the ice. Just give me a break, dude. It's hard to watch.
We don't have to get too deep into it, but given that you're not on the show a ton, do you have overarching thoughts on the power play beyond just tonight for this Avalanche team and a potential solution? Because at a certain point, you can't just say they have to keep working through it, right? Like, how do you fix it?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much I've said this recently, but Nathan MacKinnon needs to shoot on the power play, man.
Yep.
He had 1 shot attempt.
Yep.
Like,
of his 11.
Teams are not right. Teams are not respecting. That was his 12th shot attempt of the game. He had 11 in 5v5
and only 1.
Yeah. I want to see him start shooting there. Teams aren't respecting it. He moved around a little bit more tonight, which I think is important, but they just did not. He's just trying to force it into the middle, or he's forcing it across the ice to Mikko too much.
Yeah.
You know, Rantanen had his scoring chances and couldn't finish on any of it, but
True.
He was everything that they did on the power play. They had 5 shot attempts. Mikko had 4 of them.
Yep.
So, you know, you need better finish from the guy that is trying to get you to
pay him a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, to give him basically the highest contract in the NHL right now. Like, that's what he's asking for. So, You need better finish from that guy. You need better finish. And you need your all-world, your reigning Hart Trophy guy to shoot.
Yep.
It's not even like, oh, he hasn't finished. He hasn't done it. He's not even shooting. He's forcing the pass in, and it's turning into possession elsewhere. It's getting cleared. It's creating 2-on-2s the other way. They spend 30 seconds of every power play defending.
Yep.
That's not even like they lost the face-off and they had to go back, and they have to they spend it defending. They have more players on the ice. I'm I'm frustrated with it, man. It's gotten so bad and so little has changed that I'm just like, yeah, it's on Ray Bennett. Yeah, it's on Nathan MacKinnon. Yeah, it's on Cale Makar. Like,
It's on everybody.
all of these guys. Yeah, it's on all of these guys. There isn't one that you look at and say, well, that guy's primarily responsible. You can't say Ray Bennett is primarily responsible. He's not on the ice. But he's not blameless. I mean, come on.
I mean, this is a topic Eric has brought up, obviously not here tonight for the post game, but at what point do you send a message and say, I'm going to put Logan O'Connor and Parker Kelly out on my power play because you guys aren't getting it done? At a certain point,
next game.
Right? At a certain point, there are no other levers left to pull, right? So
I would do it next game, assuming that it's like an early power play in the game.
Obviously, if you're trying to win, you're going with your best players. I get it. Fine, whatever.
Yeah, like the power play that late in the third of a 2-2 game. Like, I'm not using that time to do it. Especially when that line's been great for you. Like, they were vibing. They dominated the third period.
Yep.
But that's not the time for it. I would do it in, oh, you got a power play 6 minutes into the first period? There you go. Like, do that.
Someone else can have it. Yeah. I don't know. It feels like grasping at straws at this point on how to fix the Avs power play, because every conversation we have about it comes back to the same solution. Even if, go check out our boy Petey's, he did a breakdown on YouTube of it, and the conclusion he came to is the Avs can break out of this whenever they want to. They just have to start doing the right things. I don't know what it's going to take to get them there, but
yeah, it's part of the frustration for it, man, is that it's not complicated. This is not like you need some deep dive. You have to go soul searching here. Like, you're not moving the puck very much. You're not shooting. Your best player is not shooting. Like, you're trying to force the puck to Artturi Lehkonen and Jonathan Drouin to do all the shooting.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? So, I don't even. The power play was such a minor part of this game that it's just
agree. Yeah,
I don't even know how we ended up here, but
it's just the conversation everyone wants to have. That's all.
Yeah, dumb.
It is what it is. Do want to talk about a lot of other angles in this game, but we do have to pay some bills first. As we are brought to you by Breck Brew, the official craft beer of DNVR. You can get yourself some pretty much anywhere in the 50 United States. Go visit your local liquor store or go online to breckbrew.com and use their online beer locator to find it near you. They have dozens of flavors. Get some today. They have a beer for everybody. If you like any kind of beer, they've got something for you. You can also check out their awesome merch again at breckbrew.com today. Go get with the official craft beer of DNVR, and you can even get $2 off a Breck Brew Avalanche here at the bar when the Avs are playing. So a great deal to come on down to the bar. Once you've got a Breck Brew, make sure you're also going with Bet365. You can sign up with Bet365 with the code DNVR365. You get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 on anything. Win or lose, you'll get those $150. So go get those. Go play along. Have some fun with some free money. You can bet on the Avs. You can bet against the Avs. You can bet on not hockey at all. Whatever it is, do it with Bet365. And when you do bet with them, of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. And be sure to use that DNVR365 code when you sign up with the QR code on screen right there. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. A couple of things I wanted to get into here. Because on the Avs play, on the whole, I agree with you. I really thought they played well. I thought on paper they were the better team for the majority of the game. They just did not finish well enough. And then you have the fourth line conversation here. And, I don't know how much of an impact the fourth line fully has on any given game when they play 6 minutes or less. But ultimately, it's your fourth line that lets you down on the first goal of the game against. Juuso Parssinen just gets straight up lit on fire to the back post, and it is what it is. I don't know necessarily how you can fix this effectively, because when you look at that fourth line, and if anything, you want them to play more. So maybe they're not playing enough. Maybe you just need different players. I don't know. AJ, do you have what's your thoughts on the fourth line situation, I guess, in general for the Avs, not just the obvious goal against tonight?
Obviously tonight the goal against is bad, but I thought that they showed a little bit more life than we've seen recently. But your ice time is I really don't have a huge problem with the way they divvied it up tonight. At 5v5, you have 15 and a half minutes of MacKinnon, Rantanen, Drouin. You have 10 and a half minutes of Parker Kelly, the Parker Kelly line. You have 10 and a half minutes of the Casey Middlestat line. All of those lines won their matchups. All of them produced more scoring chances, high danger chances, all of that. Like, all of them won their matchups.
Yep.
You got all the chances that you wanted out of those lines. They all could have scored goals, multiple goals for you tonight.
Sure.
Like, it just, it's just, but when it comes to the fourth line in particular, what they got out of Juuso, or for what they paid for Juuso Parssinen, tells you he's going to be part of this for a while.
Yep.
They're going to give him a long runway here. And you've seen ups and downs. You've seen a guy that can help them offensively and is a work in progress defensively. Is he really a center? We're back to this problem of, is this guy actually a center, or should he really be on a wing? So, Ivan, you kind of having the same conversation. Which one of those guys do you really trust? Right now, I don't think you really trust either of them, but they're both clear-cut, to me, clear-cut better options than the other guys they're running out there. Yuri Anila hasn't done anything for you.
Yeah.
And I don't care. You want to shuffle him out? I was talking to Eric today, and I said, call up Matt Steinberg. If Matt Steinberg were healthy, call him up, let him go through a suspension, and bring that guy out. At least that guy was doing something for you.
There's a couple things that are hard for me to justify here, and I know this might be a hard conversation for someone like Parssinen in a game where he actively is the guy who blew his coverage, and that's why the Avs got the first goal scored against them.
Yeah, that's bad.
But if you believe he's a third round pick and you believe he's going to be a part of this for a while, do you not have to at least try and get that guy more than 6 minutes a night? I mean, sure, I'm not going to say he's played perfect every night. Obviously, it wasn't perfect tonight, but at a certain point, are you not stunting your own opportunity to see growth in a guy by limiting him that much?
Yeah, and I think, Jared Bednar it's always going to be, well, I'm trying to win the game that I'm in, right? Fair enough when you're in a close game, but if you aren't trusting your fourth line, I mean, we're almost 50 games into the season.
Right.
You've got to take some of these minutes off of your top guys. I don't think it's that bad. It's not as bad. It's not as bad as it has been in previous seasons, but I think you got to take some of these minutes off of him, man. I like that he's coming to a more comfortable distribution with all the other guys, but because like what you got tonight out of the Parker Kelly LOC, like that 14-ish minute range, and then your second
good.
line, Middlestat getting 17, Lekkonen getting 16, Ross Colton wasn't very good, he only got 14 and a half, but that's all a good range. Like I think you're headed to a good place there. But the fourth line, even if it's just 2 shifts in a game, the fourth line takes off of your top line. That's a win.
8 minutes seems to be the magic number. Get them to 8 minutes and you feel okay about it, right? When you're talking about guys playing less than 6, it gets really hard. And not just for taking minutes off of your top players. Eric talks about this all the time. If you want to get the best out of your fourth line, playing 5 minutes a night is difficult. You're going to have a hard time finding any rhythm as a player, especially someone like a Parsonen who maybe you are expecting a little bit more offense out of as a player. It's tough. It's a tough ask to do that in 5 minutes of hockey. The other side of this is the Inola situation. I don't understand it at this point, and like I get it. Fourth lines are grinders. They bring a different style of hockey. But Inola isn't accomplishing anything. He's by far the worst possession forward on the Avs, and that includes the other fourth liners. Inola is significantly worse when it comes to getting the Avs going the right direction or even just preventing offense from the other side of the puck. And we have proven other options in the Avalanche organization that can fill this role, whether that's a Prishchapov or even if it's a Ty Felleber. If you go look at the numbers, Felleber was significantly more positively impactful than someone like Inola has been on the Avs. And it's nothing against the guy. Like I said, anyone playing that amount of ice time, it's going to be a hard time. But at a certain point, you're asking for a little bit more out of an NHL player.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Ivan played about the same amount of ice time, and I don't have any issues with his game. He was fine.
Yep.
But with Inola's body of work this year, you're watching him, and what's he doing for you? You know, he's supposed to be a bit of an offensive player, but he's not doing anything. He doesn't win board battles. He doesn't do anything in transition. He doesn't create anything dangerous for line mates. He doesn't shoot the puck. He's not big. He's not physical. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, genuinely, what are we talking about here? With Yuri Inola, what is the upside? So that's, you know, and the thing is that you could pick a guy. You want Jean-Luc Foudy, you want Oscar Olsen, you want Jason Poland.
At 5 minutes a night, does it even really matter that much who you're playing there? Like,
there's just not enough of a separation between those guys. That's why I was saying, if you had Steinberg available to you, great. That guy does something that you're looking for in your lineup, and you know, is he any good with the puck? No. There's a lot of fourth liners around the league that suck with the puck. That sounds gross. That aren't any good with the puck. It's fine as long as you forecheck hard, you hit people, and I think that was a big difference tonight with the Avs and how they played, was that they forechecked they played with a little purpose.
I agree.
They actually got up on the Jets when they had the puck before the neutral zone. They actually made them work for it. They got a little bit of physical. It wasn't so much of this flyby stuff that we have seen so much this season. They got a little physical. They got a little nasty with it, and it showed results. They didn't dominate the Jets tonight. I think they were the better team. They outchanced them. They outshot them. They did everything that you want to do except scored that last goal, but they outplayed them, and a lot of that to me was they made life hard for the Jets. They made life hard coming out of their own zone and through the neutral zone. They did a good job with their puck retrievals. They didn't spend a lot of time in their own zone defending. They didn't get cycled to death. They didn't let the Jets do what we've seen the Jets do to them multiple times this season. The Avs were pretty good tonight. They just couldn't beat Connor Hellebuck.
And I mean, I think part of the conversation where that feels so stark in tonight's game, even if it is a loss, looking over this last stretch, there have been too many games where it feels like the Avs just got outworked shift to shift on a night where they're losing the puck battles or they're not making the little detail plays. And it feels like they did those things tonight. Unfortunately, they don't get rewarded for it. And this is where I have my one struggle with tonight, because a large part of me agrees with you, AJ. I really feel about as good as you can with a loss, at least for the regulation portion of this game from the Avalanche. But at the same time, we're at what? Game 49? It's really hard to have moral victories at this point in the season, especially in a stretch of hockey where the Avs had an opportunity to make up a bunch of ground on the Central Division and instead lost ground to the top of the Central Division.
Yep.
It's hard. It's hard for me to feel positive about that. And I don't, I've said this a lot on shows lately, but I don't think this is an overarching serious concern for the team. They're not going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be worried about them missing the playoffs or anything like that. But it does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity.
It is a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it really is, you know. The schedule lined up in such a way that, you know, they had Winnipeg and Edmonton on the second nights of back-to-backs. They lose both of those games. Obviously, the Edmonton game hurt a little bit more because of the way that they blew a 3-0 lead. They get a heavily depleted, and I mean 2 weeks ago with Winnipeg, not tonight.
Yeah.
They have a heavily depleted Minnesota team that they don't take advantage of. Their wins were against the New York Rangers and a beat-up Dallas team playing its backup goalie.
Yep.
And like, yeah, the Avs are also beat up, but at this point, everybody's beat up. This just wasn't. You know, they go 2-2-1 on this homestand. 500 hockey is just not good. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough.
And look, the Avs are in a spot where it's not good enough, right? And yes, injuries are something that they can't necessarily control, but the Avs put themselves in a spot with the start of the season that the expectation is you have to play well above 500 for the rest of the year after game 20, 25, whatever. Pick a game when the Avs got through that initial portion of massive injuries and you got Nichushkin and Lehkonen back. And I know Nichushkin's re-injured again or whatever, but the plan for the season was always survive the first portion and then play up to the ability that you believe this team has. And look,
they've done a good job of that.
This stretch of the season comes off of a 7-0-1 run. But at a certain point, this stretch of the season needs to be turned into another successful run of hockey. And again, I'm really caught in the middle here because you shouldn't be happy with a 500 homestand. You shouldn't be happy that you've lost 2 games in a row here, even if you did get a point out of it. But, and this is a big but, if this is the floor, fine. If this is the worst stretch of hockey you're going to play this month and it's 500 hockey, you'll feel really good about that. But this has to be the floor then. You can't turn this into a problem.
Yeah. And I've just, because this has turned into when I've been tracking it since December 1st.
Yeah.
The Avs are 5th in the NHL.
Yep.
With 32 points over 24 games. The problem that they face, it's not their fault. That this is the problem that they're dealing with is that the Dallas Stars have 31 points in 25 games, and the Winnipeg Jets have 31 points in 25 games.
So you've gained 1 point.
Yep. Essentially no meaningful ground on either one of those teams since December 1st. Yep. Now you look at the Minnesota Wild, another team that they're chasing, and Minnesota has 24 points in 23 games. You've gained a lot of ground on those guys.
That's why the other night you were potentially competing for their spot in the Central. Now, you failed to convert, but you were at least in the conversation.
Yeah, and after tonight, it's, you know, we're not talking about a team in dire straits here. We were already saying they're not catching Winnipeg.
Yeah, we knew that.
They're still 9 points back, but now they are 2 points behind Minnesota and 1 point behind Dallas, but those teams each have 2 games in hand on them. Right. So they still have a lot of work to do there, and this homestand was an opportunity for them to take those points directly from those teams. Yep. And they did not do a good job of that. 500 hockey is not good enough when you're chasing. You need to be a 700 team.
Yeah, that's just the reality. of the NHL. It's really hard to chase down even a couple of points gap against good hockey teams in the standings. We do have a couple of other things to talk about here, but once again, we're going to take a quick break as we are brought to you by Game Time. The Avs are going out on the road, but if you want to go see them, you can still get in the building with Game Time. Use code DNVR when you sign up for Game Time to get $20 off your first purchase. And make sure you're using the Game Time Picks feature to get only the best prices for the tickets you want. They'll filter out all the other stuff based on what you're looking for and show you the best. And that goes for beyond just sports, too. You can use them to get tickets to concerts or theaters or wherever you might be heading that sells tickets to their stuff. Game Time has you covered. They even guarantee you the best price, as if you find tickets cheaper somewhere else, Game Time will reimburse your account 110% of the ticket price. So go get Game Time today. Join over 15 million people that use Game Time to get their tickets. Use that DNVR code. What time is it? It's Game Time, baby. And once you've got your tickets, you need a way to get to the game. And that's where Toyota comes in, the official vehicle of us here at DNVR. You can go check out your Front Range Toyota dealerships for the car that you need, whatever it might be, whatever type of car. 17 all-wheel drive vehicles, 16 hybrid vehicles. They got trucks, they got sedans, they got SUVs. They got it all when it comes to Toyota. So if you're not with them, get with them. Go check them out today at your local Toyota dealerships, whether you want the Tundra or maybe you want the 4Runner, or maybe you want a Corolla. You can't go wrong. Every single vehicle at Toyota is made to last and to get you where you're going. So get to your local Front Range Toyota dealerships today, including AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe in Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is also the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We have more to say, but we do have the coach talking as well. Let's hear what Jared Bednar had to say about this loss.
Go ahead.
Was that more of a full performance that you wanted to see from the team?
Yeah, I way fewer mistakes than some of our previous losses. Competed hard. Yeah, I like their game. You know, I can't. You always want it to be better, but yeah, I can't fault our effort, our competitiveness tonight. Did a lot of good things. Hellbook was good again, but I thought we generated enough to win the game. I thought we kept our chances down. You know, especially. Yeah, throughout the whole game, I thought it was a pretty good effort, pretty evenly played game, you know, start to finish.
How would you evaluate this whole homestand?
Inconsistent, simple. Yeah, that's, you know, I touched on it this morning about my thoughts on just struggling to get everyone playing well at the same time, you know. And the games we won, we did, or we had big performances from some guys, you know, but yeah, inconsistent. Not like coming off a stretch where I thought we were really good for a long time and then kind of riding the roller coaster here on this last homestand. And even before that.
Is that frustrating this time of year when things should be starting to, I guess, dial up, be a little bit more consistent as the season goes on?
Yeah. It is, yeah.
What did you like from putting Jonathan Drouin back on that top line?
I like their game. Yeah. I just like the way he compliments Mac. Like, there's something about it, the way they see it, you know. He makes a lot of plays coming out of the D zone off the walls that springs Mac with space on the rush. And then on some of the entries, like some nights they get super fancy, which I don't like, but they also play off one another well in the entries. It creates better rush chances for Mac's line. Yeah, and Drew was super competitive tonight. Like, that's when I took him off that line, I didn't love the competitiveness, like the forechecking ability, the you know, nose to the grindstone, winning battles to keep plays alive in the offensive zone. But he was on the puck tonight. Like, we talked about getting our three forwards connected and being around and on the puck and hanging around, and that line our whole team did a pretty good job of it, because they put numbers there, and if you don't, they're going to come out with the puck all the time. Our forecheck was super effective. I think after the second period, we'd retrieved 69% of our shot attempts, which I liked. So we were shooting it, we were getting it back. We had more shot attempts than them. Like, there was a lot of good things, and we just kind of made a couple mistakes, and they ended up in the back of our net.
Say Winsky comes back into the lineup,
Yeah.
did you see some more of the things that you needed to
Yes.
change to turn?
Yeah, I thought he was good tonight. Number one, skating, more aggressive defending, a little bit more physical. Yeah, I liked his game tonight, actually.
Did you feel there was more balance and consistency through all four lines tonight
Yes.
than there has been?
Yeah.
To what point do you follow chart, handicap, your playoff position? As long as you make it, does it even matter?
Yeah, no, I don't think it matters. As long as you make it, you gotta make it. It's a grind to make it. If you look at, think about it, you got us, Minnie, Dallas, Winnipeg all in, they're all gonna have over 100 points. So when you take it over 82 games and you're separated by, whatever, it doesn't really matter. You're separated by a couple wins, 4 or 5 points. That's over 82 games. With if we can get to that point where we're a 100+ point team, and it doesn't matter because you're playing, all those teams can win, so it doesn't matter, home or road. As long as you're playing as well as you are on the road as you are at home, there's a slight disadvantage there, but you got to get in.
Good, thank you.
Bednar bringing up one of the guys I do still want to talk about, Jonathan Drouin, maybe a bit quietly picking up a 2-point night, couple of secondary assists. He continues to produce at a pretty consistent level for the Avs inside that top six when he's in the lineup. And Bednar kind of even talked about it. It feels like the Avs have most, if not all, of the pieces they need when they're all playing in unison and playing well together. And I guess that's the $1 million question, is how do you get the full Avs lineup playing the right way and playing well at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, no team is going to consistently be able to do that.
Of course.
I think tonight, honestly, tonight is the wrong night for us to talk about this. This was the night that I think all of Colorado's top 9 was pretty solid. I liked all of their lines. All of their lines had moments where they were dangerous, where they created, where they had aggressive moments in the offensive side. I like.
So is tonight a trusted and the goals will come moment then?
Definitely, and I also think that the negativity that we have for tonight is more of a result of the homestand than this game.
I would say that's definitely true. Yeah.
If this was the first game of the homestand, we'd be like, all right, that sucked. That sucked. Long way to go. Lot of hockey left, And because this is the end of a 2-2-1, you're kind of. It just doesn't. It just feels. It feels bad. It feels bad. But I loved Colorado's competitiveness. I loved that they were a lot more physical than they normally are. I loved that their 5v5 play was strong.
I do think it's important to circle back around, right? Over this last stretch of games, there's a lot of things that you can look at and you say, hey, there are things the Avs can improve. There are things the Avs can work on. And some of that is true tonight too. But looking at tonight's game, if it weren't for the homestand, if it weren't for the last couple of games against Connor Hellebuck, I think it's pretty easy to tip your cap to Winnipeg and said, you know what, we played a good game. They played a good game. Maybe they got an extra bounce. Maybe they finished one better play than we did. You can tip your cap a little bit to a good team there.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
Maybe.
I mean, this is a good. Both teams played well in this game.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good, solid tie checking game. This was not. It wasn't boring like the last time that they played, where the Avs did absolutely nothing offensively. Colorado created plenty of dangerous chances compared to what they've been doing lately. They just got the one extra one at the end. That's all. I mean, it's hard to be. I know at this point in the season everybody has decided what Colorado's main problem is, but tonight it just wasn't really. In my opinion, this wasn't that. This wasn't that game to get out the pitchfork for Casey Middlestat. This wasn't that game. I thought he was good. I thought that line was good.
Chat does that every game now, AJ. That's you just gotta let him.
I understand that this is the SS Raijo 2.0, but to me, it's just people not paying attention. I think he's showing signs of life in that game. There are good things to feel about his game, and that line. It's not even just about him. We only talk about him. Arturi Lehkonen didn't have any shots on goal tonight.
Yeah.
And everybody always wants to crown Arturi Lehkonen when he's on that top line, but he moves away from that top line. You want to see him do a little more. You want to see him. He can't be the best player on your line
for sure.
But that competitiveness needs to translate. I thought tonight it did. I liked it. I thought they played well, man. Like I can't just sit here and continue to kill them.
Well, let me talk about the other arguable best player in the game tonight for the Avs. Is Cale Makar back? I know you're going to say maybe he never left, but I'm just saying before this last stretch of 3 games, 1 point in 6 games, and now he has 3 goals in his last 3.
Yeah. I think we're back on the Lisan Al-Gaib train for sure. He's, I was getting a little false prophet vibes out of 6 whole games, but no, the guy's otherworldly.
Yeah.
The fact that we had 6 games where it's like, wow, you got 1 point in 6 games. What are you up to over there? Like, to hell with us, honestly. The guy's special. He's so special.
Yeah, kid's a freak. I don't know what else to tell you on that one. We can let him talk to you. In fact, we did talk to Makar after the game. So let's see what he had to say about this loss in the locker room.
Cale, how frustrating is it for this game to end that way?
Yeah, I just got to make a better play than that, and that's the end of the game.
You collect points in 3 of the 5 games in this homestand. How do you evaluate it as a whole?
Personally, pretty average, I thought. Kind of in and out of games and stuff, but yeah.
What kind of adjustments did you guys make between the Minnesota game and tonight to keep it at least so close in terms of chances against?
Nothing. We just had to be better defensively and moving our feet, and felt at times tonight we were moving our feet and give up a couple odd man rushes, and those ones hurt us, but yeah.
Nathan MacKinnon extends his home point streak to 12 games. Describe his impact over this homestand in particular. How does playing with someone like that elevate the standard for everyone else?
Yeah, every single night. That's why he's the best player in the world, and shows up every night and is able to contribute for our team, and finds ways to always keep us in games. So, yeah.
You mentioned last game there was kind of a inconsistency with urgency with the team. Did you feel that had changed in tonight's game?
Yeah, I felt like we were good a lot of times tonight. Like I said, just giving up a couple odd man rushes and then a couple long D-zone shifts and then 1 unlucky goal. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. Deserve better at the end there. Just, got to make a better play.
You pick up a point, you end Hellebuck's shutout streak against you guys. I know you mentioned there were a couple good things. What did you like about this game and the effort?
Yeah, I felt like we were getting the pucks to the net and then getting guys to the net as well. And that's what you got to do against good teams like this and find ways. And then I felt like we were playing a pretty north game. So using our legs when we can, and it was resulting to chances. So, yeah.
Thanks,
So, Cale usually pretty honest about things in the post game there, and even he felt like the Avs really played pretty well in this one. I'm not going to question him on that. I'll take his word for it. We're going to take a quick pause here, and then we'll get into our final segment. All right, AJ, we don't have to dissect this one. I don't even need more than a yes or no answer from you, and I'm not taking it too seriously either way. That last shot. Should Mackenzie Blackwood have it?
No. In a perfect world, I would love that, but no. It's such a good shot.
Okay. I'm good with that. Again, it's really, really hard to fault anything from Blackwood with this team. I guess the Edmonton game, maybe you want a little bit more out of him. Other than that, I don't know.
The first goal tonight, I would like to know what he's doing with his stick, if that's intentional, because it feels like you look at one of the reasons why I think Connor Hellebuyck is so effective when pucks are right around his feet is because he's really active with his stick. He's really disruptive, and Blackwood just lets that go all the way across.
True.
And so I would like to see maybe a little bit better of a play from him on that, but obviously. Freely allowing a dude to just skate to the back door and
full
slap
body
a
length between Parsonen and that guy.
Yeah, it's rough, dude. Like that sucks, dude. But in a world in the world where we can nitpick stuff on a YouTube show after the game, after the real guys do the things, I would look at it and say I'd probably like to see a little better play from Blackwood with this stick, but. Not the real problem I have on that play. Otherwise, solid.
Question, and take this in jest, and I genuinely hope that ref is fine. Can the Avs avoid the injury gods by sacrificing linesmen every game so they get hurt instead of Avalanche players?
Dude, you know it's bad. You know it's bad when even refs are coming out of their games injured. You're just like, what is this?
It's out of control. It's out of control. Obviously, if you didn't hear the news earlier today, Nichushkin had a setback with his injury, is now week to week-ish, but they don't really have a timeline. It does sound like Miles Wood could play, I'll say, before the Four Nations break to be safe. I'll say that. I don't know. AJ, is Miles Wood a needle mover for this lineup, or...
I mean, it's certainly you just 1-to-1. You replace Urianalo with Miles Wood. It's helps.
Better.
It
for
helps
sure.
You with offense. Like the thing with Miles Wood, and I know I recently said I don't know if he has a place in this lineup. That's assuming Val Nichushkin is back. If Val Nichushkin is not back, this is very easy math to do.
Yeah.
With Miles Wood, he drives offense. He always has. His whole career, he has driven offense. The problem is he gives it back twofold because he's a horrible defensive winger, but the way that his speed and his physicality plays, that helps. You replace Yuri Inala, who does nothing, provides nothing, with Miles Wood. Absolutely, it's going to help, and I definitely think it helps get that line out there for an extra couple of minutes.
Get that TOI out. Sure.
I also think that the chemistry built between Logan O'Connor and Miles Wood last year might give them a good excuse to put Miles Wood where Kivi Ranta is right now and drop Kivi Ranta down to the fourth line. I don't think that would happen right away, but Kivi Ranta has gone very cold.
Yeah,
and
which shouldn't surprise
that
you,
guy,
but yeah.
he is a fourth line player. Like, yep. He's being overplayed. The same is true of Parker Kelly. Those are two fourth line players playing your third line. Like,
who else do you got?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're talking about Miles Wood. Like,
yep,
I would love for 12-goal Miles Wood to come back. So, Miles Wood definitely does help your lineup. Oliver Shillington, I think, would absolutely help your lineup. This Keaton Middleton thing is strange to me. It's a strange one.
Is it strange? Is this not just running back the Curtis McDermid thing?
Yes, it is.
Say the same thing.
Except the thing with Middleton is that he's been more effective. You look at all the underlyings. He continues to come out of games on the positive end of things. He continues to, he's fine. I'm like, look, this is like the good version of Jack Johnson. He's not bleeding chances. He is useless offensively. He does not understand how the Avalanche want to rush the puck. He can't do it. He physically can't do it. He can't. His brain can't handle it. He can't play that fast. He can't play that aggressive. Like, he can't be that guy. He just can't. But you do have to give him props. He's more competitive. He's not as physical as I would like.
Yep.
But he's just not. The bottom hasn't fallen out. But with Colorado struggling a little bit offensively, him being so one-dimensional, and like it's fine. But I don't
It's
understand. Calvin DeHaan is better than this. Calvin DeHaan has been better for the Avs. And I'm not going to sit here and make an argument that Calvin DeHaan has been incredible, and the Avs need to extend him with a 3-year deal or anything. But I think that he's outplayed all of these guys, and I don't get it.
my
with
problem
Middleton.
is my problem is with Middleton is it feels like there's nothing you can anchor yourself to on that bottom pairing because you don't trust Middleton. Like regardless of whether you're playing him and what his underlying numbers are, the Avs do not trust him when it comes down to it. So you can't anchor to him. You've chosen to do this with DeHaan, which to be fair, I did not think DeHaan was great the other night. But on the whole of the season, I think he's been the best of their bottom pairing guys. And obviously, Malinsky has struggled over the past 2 weeks. That's why they sat him down for a couple of games. So it just feels like what was supposed to be a steady rotation of guys you can rely on has turned into this mix of a bunch of guys that the Avs seemingly don't really know what to do with.
Yeah, dude, do you remember when Sam Malinsky was the 8th D? Because they had Oliver Shillington, Eric Branstrom, and Calvin DeHaan, and we were like, yes!
What a
This
time.
third pairing is going to be so competitive. And now we're like, so Keaton Middleton, and you're right that they're not trusting him. He is averaging so far 21 games for the Avs this year. He's averaging 10.5 minutes. Like he played 11:50 tonight. He played 8:38 against Minnesota the other day. Like the trust is not there. With
That's
Keith
tough for a
Middleton,
D, yeah.
which is why I'm like, what are we doing with it? Why is this happening? If you're not willing to play a guy more than about 10 minutes on your third pairing, like why? I mean, no offense, but that just means more Josh Manson, and right now that's a bad thing.
The other side of it, and maybe this is cheap of me to say, but I get it. He's a bottom pairing defenseman. His job is defensive D and be physical. 21 games, goose egg for points.
Well, we talk about this all the time. You have to.
Like even Jack Johnson will give you 5 a year, man. Like,
and like that was one of the things that we talked about with Sam Malinsky that was such a problem.
absolutely, yeah. The production wasn't there.
Like he needs to be a little more competitive. He needs to be, there are a lot of things about Malinsky's game that had started to slip, but if he was producing points, you could live with the growing pains.
Yep.
But he has literally 5 points in like 40
That's
games
it.
this year. Like it's just not good enough. You need to be able to produce a little bit of offense, and that's not happening.
I don't know how you solve it, I guess. Like, obviously, I know how you solve it. Oliver Shillington gets healthy. Okay, great. But
Helps.
the universe has clearly told the Avs this season that they cannot rely on anyone being healthy ever. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with the bottom pairing. I'm with you. All right, play Calvin DeHaan every night, but the Avs clearly don't want to do that. So,
which I don't get, but whatever. I will say, like, you want Keaton Middleton for the big physical block shots. He has 1 hit and 0 block shots. Again, 11:50 of ice time tonight. So, like, not a guy that's playing a ton here, but
yeah,
like what are the selling points? What's happening out of this? I have a much bigger problem with Josh Manson, who continues. I not tonight. I thought Manson was
fine.
pretty much fine.
It's I don't want to have the whole deterrent conversation again of what is that guy actually doing on the ice, but avoiding that. Look, I'll put it to you this way. All right, we don't have to continue this conversation. The fact is, we are talking about the Avs bottom pairing. If you're nitpicking the Avs lineup, that's a good place to be talking about problems. I'll put it to you that way. it's a much more comfortable spot than saying the Avs have no goaltenders or the Avs have no second line, which I know people have their problems with Middlestat, but take a look at what the Avs second line is today compared to what it was at game 15 of the season. You should feel a lot better about it now than you did then.
Ivan and Nikolai Kovalenko?
Yeah.
The one thing about this game that just specifically in this game, not bigger picture, just straight up tonight, is that once again you're too top heavy.
I agree.
Because you're talking about Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, and Nathan MacKinnon. They combined for 21 of your scoring chances at 5v5.
Yep.
As a team, you had 33.
Yep.
That's
12 from the
15 other
rest of your
skaters.
lineup. Yeah.
That's come on.
Yeah.
That's not dangerous enough.
I mean,
it's not dangerous enough.
Those go back to all the topics you already touched on, right? That's why you need better out of Arturi Lehkonen on that second line. It's why you need your third line to really be a fourth line for you, because they're not designed to generate a ton of offense as currently constructed.
Yeah. Those three guys gave you 10 high danger chances. As a team, you allowed 8 to Winnipeg at 5v5.
Yep.
You generated 16. So the rest of your lineup created 6 high scoring chances. That is great. That's perfect. That's amazing. You want that, but it's not enough. And like,
they got to go in
eventually.
Eventually, they got to go in.
Some of that's it's like a little bit deceiving because you're talking like Casey Middlestat. These are individual numbers. Casey Middlestat's not going to shoot 7 times in a game. He's not going to,
Has he ever done that in his career?
Right. Like, he's not going to have 5 scoring chances in a game. Like, that's not what he's the guy that's going to spring somebody for a scoring chance. Like, so those numbers can be a touch deceiving. I'll just say, as a line tonight, 10 minutes, 34 seconds, Lehkonen, Middlestat, Colton outshot the Jets 11-6. Shot attempts. Actual shots on goal, you're talking 4-4, but scoring chances were 5-3. So
it's a good generation, but again, got to go in. It's got to go in.
Yeah, you need to score, but like you're talking about, that's what your second line should be doing.
Yeah.
Your third line did the same thing as it always does. It doesn't allow anything against. It creates a couple things for, and they biff all their chances. That's who they are.
That's who they are.
Your fourth line's results tonight were bad, but your top line, 29 shot attempts for and 13 against.
Outrageous.
Yeah, you had 19-8 scoring chances from that line and 10-5 high danger chances. Once again, that line defensively, a problem. As we saw in overtime, I know it wasn't the whole line, but in overtime, defensively those guys aren't great, but they create so much, and they should have scored more than they did tonight. Honestly, they got robbed by the universe.
I agree with that. I don't want to take anything away from Hellebuck. I called him. He's going to win the Vezina this year. He's that good. But the dude got lucky tonight, and good players get lucky sometimes.
I mean, Nathan MacKinnon gets lucky that a puck goes off the post and comes right back to him, and Hellebuck has no chance to do anything. But by that point, it was probably the universe just being like, dude, come on, we can't keep doing this for you.
This is some BS.
Just straight up, like, MacKinnon beats him with that little sneaky backhand in the first. He beats him.
Yeah.
And it goes through his 5-hole and right off the tip of his skate and hits the post.
And off the post
right
and back under him. Yeah. Like, the number of things that have to go right there. Yeah.
Girl. What do you think Alexander Georgiev's thinking watching that? He's like, what? What?
Well, Hellebuck also made glove saves tonight. So, anyway.
He had one. He had the one that hits out of it, and Rantanen is standing right there, and I was like, oh my God, is this it? Is this it? It was not it. No.
One more than Georgiev made. Anyway, Super Chats. Get me out of this conversation. $14 from Drew, who says, half this team doesn't deserve to put the jersey on with their crap effort. Have we found a replacement for Cap Friendly? Puckpedia's GM, Puck GM maybe. I need some good rosterbation to feel better. I mean, I really don't think tonight is the effort conversation. The other night, absolutely. Yeah. We were absolutely having that conversation the other night. Tonight, I thought the Avs put the effort in. The result is still disappointing, though. There is no good replacement for Cap Friendly. Puckpedia kind of works. I've been using a site called Cap Wages that kind of works. But no, none of them have effectively replaced Cap Friendly. It's very sad.
Just for fun, the most recent one, if this is one of you, I'm putting you super duper on blast, and I'm not that sorry for it. But the most recent on the Puck GM thing on Puckpedia, the most recent Avalanche roster has them trading Sam Girard and a first-round pick.
That's a perfect time for him to DC. I love that. We'll never know. We'll never know with Sam Girard in a first round. Oh, you're back. You're back.
Oh, am I? Yeah, it was Sam Girard in a first-round pick to Florida for Lusterinen and Nico Mikkola.
So you just got worse? We do have one more super chat from Cedric that says, "No Rudo, no AJ. Great show, Tiff. Beat the Wild, please." I don't know, dude.
I don't know. Anyway, they also traded Casey Middlestaffer, Yoel Armia, and a third-round pick. So good value.
You just got worse.
Yeah, good value.
I know I'd trade Bo and Byram for Yoel Armia.
There's several other things that happen, but I'll just let this be. The universe does not want me doing this. So
clearly this information can't leak. All right.
Yeah.
We're at the end of our show anyway. So any final thoughts here, AJ, and we'll get out of here.
It was fun to kick it old school.
Every once in a while, you got to do it.
I wish. I'm so glad they're done playing Winnipeg. I don't have to think about this godforsaken city for the next few months.
No, now they're coming up to your neck of the woods. So say hi to Big E for me if you see him.
Hopefully we're gonna try and have lunch.
There you go. That'll work.
He's literally driving right by the house, so hopefully.
Works out. We are out of here for tonight, though. We are off Thursday and Friday, so the next 2 days, because we have games, obviously, both days this weekend. Join us for those matinees. Check out AJ's piece in the morning, I would assume. Or maybe he's a psycho and we'll stay up tonight and write it. Who's to say? My video will be up when it's up. We appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to you on the next one of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.